Yes, Prabhuji, I would like to share some of the learning takeaways from yesterday's lecture from Dwarkadish Prabhu and Vishaka Priya Mataji.
Mm.
Uh, like yesterday, they were discussing about the 10 essentials to keep our sadhana strong. They were saying that the first point, if we are grihasthas, then we should stabilize our family life. By stabilizing, it means that we should keep our family life happy and peaceful, maintain the environment that is favorable for our sadhana, and we should be living a God-centered life. And then they were describing like why our sadhana suffers. Um, so sometimes we do see that we are doing some night round chanting which shows our spiritual neglect. Like we should have a priority for chanting. Like in the morning we should be able to do more rounds, and so if we are not doing that, if we are like chanting, we are just rushing to finish our rounds at night time or something, it shows our spiritual neglect. Infrequent reading of Bhakti Shastra, no quality association, and rising desire of material enjoyment, don't not getting connected to services. So these are all the reasons behind the sadhana that suffers. Then they were saying that we should stabilize our sadhana. So we should do more of the visible sadhana. So visible sadhana inspires us and others also, and it also gives sense of strong regulation. Then they were emphasizing more on regular shravanam. So sounds wakes up people in morning also, like with alarm we wake up normal. So similarly, chanting the transcendental sound, that is very powerful, and we should choose to hear. And then they were recommending to hear those speaker which can help us to have surrender emotion in our hearts, and receptive heart nourishes the soul. And then they mentioned that we should activate our Krishna conscious life. By activating Krishna conscious life, it means that when you take responsibility of other people life to grow in Krishna consciousness, you also become automatically more responsible. They were recommending to take like some preaching engagements. Then there are different perspective to chanting. They were asking to add different perspective to chanting, that is act of japa. So success in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the sadhak. Chanting should be looked as nam seva, and Krishna is a person manifesting in sound. Then they were saying that we will be able to more connect with the analogies. So they describe some analogies. Like chanting is like inviting Krishna to our home. That is first analogy that discussed. Then they gave example of the dentist chair. I think probably Sugandha Mata. I will let Sugandha Mata describe that. I don't know exactly how that analogy was. But they were mentioning devotees are strugglers, and they gave an analogy of a luggage. When we go to the airport, we check in the big baggage. So similarly, like we should check in any big baggage that we have before chanting, and just keep the chanting bead bag, that is small baggage, with us. And then they discuss about digital detox, and they gave an example of a village. So there was a sarpanch who was very worried about his son. His son was very addicted to the electronics. So what he did one day was like he just announced that in the town after 7 a.m. for a few hours, people, when the siren goes on, people don't have to use their cell phone, and they have to do some activities that they can do with family, or just play outside, or whatever, like activities like that. So with that, like people started recognizing that this kind of digital detox is bringing happiness to their life. So like they are doing more now. That example they shared. Then they talked about bhasmya. Then they gave an analogy of bhasmya disease. So in this disease, a person eats a lot, but they do not gain weight. Similarly, devotees, sometimes it happens with devotees also that they chant a lot, but uh, they don't get the taste. So that is due to inattentive chanting, or some aparad that we are doing. So they gave that kind of analogy. And then they said, when you don't care of chanting, then chanting will take care of you. So when you take care of japa, Krishna will automatically care for your consciousness. And they emphasize more on think, speak, and act. So when your japa is good, automatically you will think right, you will speak right, you will act right. And nothing should disturb during the communion time with Krishna. So the communion time, basically the chanting time with Krishna that we are spending during that time, we should not have any disturbances. When spiritual master does not demand, so normally, like we have seen that when they were saying that initiated devotees, when they have spiritual master, like spiritual master don't keep on asking you that, are you doing chanting, or are you following any vows that you committed. So like spiritual master don't push for those things, but they are patiently waiting that you will do it, assuming that you will make up to your commitments that you have given to them. So when someone is not demanding, it adds more responsibility for devotees to do better. And they recommended to have Krishna-centered relationships. So whenever we meet someone like other devotees, then we should talk about bhajan, like, how is your chanting going, or things like that. Then when sadhana is going, and then they mention that there are some symptoms that you will observe. When sadhana is going good, then below things happens. So philosophy of Krishna consciousness becomes more appealing. Prabhupada books become more relishing. ISKCON appears more beautiful, and Vaishnavas appears Vaishnavas to us. Yeah, that were some takeaways for me. Thank you. If there is something missing, thanks Sugandha Mata, someone can add to it.
Thank you, Joy Mataji. You just, I listened to the class, but you captured everything. It's so amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thanks, Joy. That was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Juhi. I like their story they mentioned of the pastime of Madan Mohan and Sanatan Goswami. How Sanatan Goswami was, he got this deity from Purushottam Chobe, and he was at the Dwadasha Aditya Tila, and every day he would give the deity one bati, roti, sadi roti. It's like, every day, day by day, he was giving sadi roti, and then Madan Mohan says, can you give me some salt too? So it's like we are chanting and we are saying Krishna's name, but it's like there is no salt. So Mataji was saying that you need to add salt to your chanting. And I had heard another lecture which gives an acronym to this salt. So one devotee was saying that S means sorry. We need to pray to Krishna while we are chanting, Krishna, I'm so sorry that I neglected you for so long, that I was, envious of you. Like that, we are repenting our mistakes, sorry. And then A for asking, we ask for spiritual desires, like Prahlad Maharaj says, let there be no material desires in the core of my heart, let me get advanced devotee association, let me serve devotees. Like that, we are asking for spiritual things. And then L stands for listening, is that we hear the Hare Krishna mantra nicely. And T stands for thanking, that we are grateful to Krishna for what he has given us. So gratitude is what brings, humility in us. And as Juhi, you were saying about the dentist chair, and Prabhuji can add what that means is that, at the dentist chair, the person is just sitting, opening his mouth, and the dentist is doing everything, right? So as Mataji was saying, that we become senior devotees in the movement. Earlier we start off as Das, Das, Anudas. Then we think of as Das, Anudas. Then I am Das. And then now I'm Prabhu. And then now I'm Mahaprabhu. So like our pride is growing. And we think that, others should serve me. And then we talk about the higher topics, Madhurai Kadambani, Gopal Champu, Sadgad Garbhas of Jiva Goswami, but we forget to talk about the basics. basics are like chanting, how to improve our chanting. So this is, she was saying, organized neglect of chanting starts by after you think that you have become a senior devotee. Then, so that's why devotee is always strugglers. Devotees are strugglers. Strugglers means that they always think that, I'm a neophyte devotee, I am just beginning, and I'm not doing things properly, I'm lower than the others. So one, let me see who's not on mute. Okay. So one person, Radhanath Swami Maharaj asked one devotee that, how are you? And he said, Maharaj, I'm struggling. And Maharaj says, thank you for struggling. So struggling in japa is better than struggling in 8.4 million species. So we need to be strugglers because we need to, see where we are lacking and keep on improving. So spiritual life means we keep on increasing our taste of bhakti, not that it's going down, as you said, that when the rounds don't get completed and we wait for the night to complete the rounds, and we're not hearing scriptures, or we're not reading scriptures, these are red flags that we are already in a fallen state, that we're not doing our sadhana properly means we are already fallen, she said. Yeah, she said, if your mind wanders in japa, you will keep wandering in 8.4 million species of life. Yeah, Prabhuji, you want to add something? Yeah, she also said, unsteadiness in Krishna consciousness begins with casual hearing and chanting, and casual leads to casuality. So when you're not chanting nicely in a proper mood, then you're already in a fallen state. And of course, that taste is not coming, can be because of offenses to devotees. It can be because of you're not doing Shravanam nicely. And you need to put a conscious effort in chanting nicely. I mean, we should have a strong desire to chant nicely. Yes, Prabhu, you can add.
Thank you. You covered everything. Anything else would you like to say? Okay. We'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. Read some verses from Bhagavatam. This is Prahlad's prayers. Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. य एतत् कीर्तयन् मह्यं त्वया गीतम् इदं नरः त्वां च मां च स्मरन् काले कर्मबन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. One who always remembers your activities and my activities also, and who chants the prayers you have offered, becomes free in due course of time from the reactions of material activities. So this is like the Falshruti of chanting Prahlad's prayers, remembering Prahlad Maharaj and Narsinghadev. Here it is stated that anyone who chants and hears about the activities of Prahlad Maharaj and in relationship with Prahlad's activities, the activities of Narsinghadev, gradually becomes free from all bondage of the fruitive activities. So there is a Hiranyakashipu in our heart. Everybody has Hiranyakashipu, all the demons, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, all these are the anarthas. Hiranyakashipu means the desire, the greed for wealth, desire for sense gratification. Hiranya means gold, right? And Kashipu means soft bed. So these desires for sense gratification are very deeply embedded in the heart. So when we chant, also, I was thinking this morning, we should pray to Lord Narsinghadev, please appear in my heart and destroy this Hiranyakashipu who is sitting in my heart, who has captured me. I am under the captivity of Hiranyakashipu. He is torturing me. O Narsingadev, please appear and destroy this demon. We have that prayer also. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya Namastejas Tejase Aviravirbhava. Aviravirbhava. Avirbhava means appear in my heart, O Narsingadev. You please appear in my heart and destroy this demon-like desires for fruitive activities, and for enjoyment in this material world and sense gratification, gross and subtle desires for sense gratification. Because these desires are very deep. These desires are very deep. But Lord Narsingadev has Vajranakha Vajradanstra. He has also very sharp nails which can penetrate deep into our heart and pluck out all these anarthas from our heart, which are keeping us. Basically, the material desires are like demons in the heart, and they are keeping us from relishing bhakti, all these material desires. And that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, yes, you are rowing the boat, but the boat is not going anywhere because you have not removed the anchor of material desires. So we have to pray to Narsingadev, as Prahlad Maharaj prayed, O Narsingadev, if you want to give me a benediction, let there be no material desires in the core of my heart. Take away all these material desires, which are causing me to transmigrate in this material existence and making me suffer. So these are the demons, and Narsingadev, the elephant-like lust is sitting in the heart, very strong. But when the lion roars, so Narsingadev is the lion. So when Narsingadev appears in the heart like a lion, then the elephant-like lust flees away from the heart. That's what, when there's a verse like that, when Narsingadev appeared, what all happened. So this is like Narsingha Chaturdashi is coming up. We can pray to Lord Narsingadev so that we can attain our sadhya. He was talking about the sadhya is Radha Krishna. But all these anarthas are like the demons that are obstacles to attaining our sadhya. Sadhya is the Radha Krishna. So we can pray especially to Narsingadev, who is the remover of obstacles on the path of bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also has prayer like that, those verses. So here it is stated that anyone who chants and hears about the activities of Prahlad Maharaj and in relationship with Prahlad's activities, the activities of Narsingadev, gradually becomes free from all the bondage of fruitive activities. So we become free from the desire to do fruitive activities. Karma Shayan, Karma Asha. Karma Shayan, Randhaya Randhaya Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha. So Karma Shayan, Asha means hope. And karma means by fruitive activities we will become happy in this material world. That's very... we can never become happy in this material world. That's why another thing to focus on spiritual life, you have to become what? Completely hopeless about any enjoyment in this material world. Because that is why Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Taya Prita Chetasam Vyavasayadmika Buddhi Samadhav na Vidhiyate. Krishna is saying, as long as you have all these desires to enjoy in this material world, you cannot become steady and focused in bhakti. Because in the minds of those who are too attached to material opulence and enjoyment, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. Like he was giving the... Was he giving the example of Arjuna and the bird yesterday? Did he give the example? Or
The example of what?
Arjuna looking at the bird.
He did.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was giving the sadhana, sadhya and sadhana. Sadhana, sadhan and
Okay.
sadhya.
Okay.
Sadhya, yeah. So our sadhya, we will not see our sadhya. Our focus will not be on the sadhya, Radha Krishna, or whatever your Ram, Sita Ram, as long as all these other desires are distracting me. And Sanat Kumar also says that so we have to pray to Krishna. It's very deep rooted. These desires are not going to go away. But we have to every day. That's why that struggling. We have to struggle with these desires. And Brahma says the highest devotion is attained in slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor. So one has to have consistency. Constant endeavor means consistency. Constantly you are doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Every day we have to do, every day we have to do. And whatever disturbs our consistency, we should avoid. So whatever it disturbs our consistency in sadhana, maybe if I go somewhere, it will disturb my sadhana. Maybe if I change my situation, it will disturb my sadhana. So chanting should be given first priority. And Suvas Prabhu, he was talking about Suvas Prabhu yesterday, how he is the temple president of Los Angeles. And he is always there for last 40 years, like Dravida Prabhu. He said, I hardly missed a Mangalarati in 40 years. So they are like lines on a stone. Means, come what may, I will not give up my chanting. Whatever may happen, that Haridas Thakur says in what he says. What is the verse?
खंड खंड होय देह यदि प्राण तबु आमी वदने ना छाड़े हरि नाम.
Yeah. So you can. They told him they arrested him and they said, we are going to beat you up if you don't stop chanting. And he says, how can I stop chanting? You can beat me up, you can cut my body into pieces, but I will not give up this chanting. So Prabhupada also during Kumbh Mela, it was very cold and devotees were not coming for Mangalarati because it was cold and to take bath in the morning and come to the temple. So Prabhupada one day he got up and he went under the pump and he took a cold shower, cold bath, and that inspired everybody. So Prabhupada wanted that. One time Suvas Prabhu asked Prabhupada, how can we distribute your books without interruption? So Prabhupada says you should chant all your 16 rounds in one go. Don't let anything interrupt you. So in one go we should finish our rounds nicely. And before we chant, we make a sankalpa like that. I will not get up from here until I chant my 16 rounds. Like Maharaj was saying yesterday, that make sure nobody leaves the temple room, make sure nobody talks, make sure nobody falls asleep. 3 things he was saying, right? So we should also say like that, I will not get up from this place until I finish my 16 rounds. So like that. There's sankalpa. And then Burijan Prabhu says, every Mahamantra you make a sankalpa. Every Mahamantra you chant, one is the bigger sankalpa, that I will chant my 16 rounds at one go. That's the bigger sankalpa. And then you make smaller sankalpas. In the bigger sankalpa is, every Mahamantra I will chant nicely. It's an offering to the Lord. Sometimes I think like this, that if you chant the Mahamantra nicely, they will give you a nice, fresh, fragrant flower to offer to Lord Chaitanya. But if you don't chant the mantra nicely, means if you're not hearing nicely, then they will not give you any flower, or they will give you a rotten flower. So you want to offer a nice flower to Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, Gaur Nitai, or you want to offer a rotten flower. So every Mahamantra is an offering. You can say every Mahamantra is an offering to Krishna. I'm offering this. I want to chant very nicely. Very, like, Toyota. They quality certify every vehicle. If you say Toyota or Honda, they put that stamp, quality certified. So every car is tested properly. I mean, otherwise, people will have accidents if things are not working. So every Mahamantra is quality certified. We should chant every Mahamantra very nicely. And that means we should hear very nicely. We should remember Krishna nicely, every Mahamantra. Burijan Prabhu says like that. We should make a sankalpa. We don't have to stop necessarily in our chanting to make the sankalpa, but every time you chant, you say, I'm going to chant this Mahamantra nicely. The success of my life depends on how I chant this Mahamantra. So, and it is true, if we chant one name of Krishna purely, it will give us Krishna Prem. It is described like that. So I want to chant this mantra. Then you make another sankalpa. Then you make another sankalpa. Like that. And I am chanting to please Srila Prabhupada. Basically, I am a servant of Srila Prabhupada, and I am just chanting to please him because he has told me, and to please Krishna, of course. So, so in this way, we can chant nicely. Anyway, there's some things I was thinking when chanting today. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:15-2:56, Yam hina vyathanti ete purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. O best among men, Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Why is eligible for liberation? Because he will not be disturbed. His sadhana will be steady. Then you will not rotate in the 8.4 billion species of life. If your sadhana and your focus on Krishna is steady, because you are not disturbed by all the things happening, then you can, tan stitikshashva bharata. Nothing can, like deviate you. You are just tolerating and just going on with your Krishna consciousness. So then you get liberation. So we have to make our situation so that there is less disturbance also. We should not put ourselves in a situation where there will be more disturbance, and we should make choices in our life such that there will be less disturbance in our life so that we can be peaceful and we can focus on Krishna. Dukheshva anudvigna manaha sukeshu vigata sriha vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadhir muniruchyate. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. So we can expect miseries in this material world. Already it is miserable, and we should not make it more miserable by entangling ourselves in material desires. Already the situation is miserable, and we should not make it more complex. So this is simplify situation so that you can fulfill the purpose of this human form of life. A devotee should not be aggrieved in an awkward position, nor should he feel extraordinarily happy in material opulence, because both are temporary. Material opulence also is temporary. Hiranyakashipu was so opulent, but in one moment it was finished. So there is no better position in this material world. Prabhupada would say like that. You may think that others are in a nice situation, they have a nice house and nice car, but everything will be finished in a moment. And this things are like that you may have nice assets and nice family, but if you get cancer, you are in a worse position than somebody who's in a poor situation, right? At least he's healthy. So we cannot say, okay, my situation is better than somebody else because I have this and that. Some little thing can happen, kidney fails or something happens, then finished. The good situation is finished. So so we always think grass always looks green on the other side, and we think, oh, others are in better situation, they have this, they have that. But everything can be finished in a moment, and it will be finished. And even if it is not finished, how long it will last? It will last a few more years and then it's over. So this is how we should not get carried away. Even if you have material opulence, we should think Krishna has given me this so that I can serve Krishna nicely. And I can focus on Krishna, I can do more service. I don't have to struggle very hard to make a living. Of course, if you are working for Krishna, that's different. If you are sacrificing the results of your work for Krishna, service, then that's good. But otherwise, yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. It causes bondage. This is the way of expert management of material life. Because a devotee knows how to manage expertly, he is called Jivan Mukta. As Rupa Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Iha yasye harirdasye karmana manasa gira nikhalasvapi avasthashu Jivan Mukta sauchyate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna with his body, mind and intelligence and words, is a liberated person even within this material world, although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. Because they are not material activities anymore, because they are spiritual activities, because he is doing it for Krishna. because of like the iron rod in the fire becomes like fire. Because of constantly engaging devotional service, in any condition of life, a devotee is free from all material bondage. Bhakti punati man nishtha pakan api sambhavat. So every moment we should serve Krishna. That's basically the idea. Constantly engaging means not a moment passes without remembering Krishna, without serving Krishna. That's difficult. So at least in the morning, 2 hours, and whenever we are reading Bhagavatam or so, then it will increase more and more. Even one born in a family of meat eaters is purified if he engages in devotional service. So no matter whatever situation you are, if you engage in devotional service, you'll become purified. Shva pakan, shva is dog, and pakan means dog eater. So it says shva pakan api sambhavat. It's possible. Sambhava is from the sambhavat is contamination of low birth. Okay. Bhakti punati man nishta. Sambhavami, I was thinking that line, but okay. Even if one is born in family of meat eaters, if he is purified, if he engages in devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami cites this verse in logically supporting that anyone who chants about the pure life and activities of Prahlad Maharaj is freed from the reaction of material activities. Okay, anyone like to say anything?
That's similar to Devotees verse. Aho bata swapacchoto garyam. Yajivagre vartate nam tapyam. How glorious are those whose tongues are chanting the holy name, even born in the families of dog eaters. Such persons are worshipable because they have executed all austerities and fire sacrifices and have had good manners of Aryans, that they're getting to chant the holy name. They must have executed all austerities in the past.
Yeah, also I was remembering with Nrsingadev, like that verse is there that as a lion roars and all the animals flee in fear. So all the sinful reactions depart when we remember Lord Nrsingadev. So, which is what is said in this verse of the reactions of material activities. So, right, that verse is there. So,
Correct.
okay. Any other comments? Yeah, so the thing is, whatever we are doing, our mind has to be focused on Krishna. So, but sometimes Prabhupada says hearing is same as thinking of Krishna. Then he would say, I was thinking this morning while chanting. He said, where is the question of mind? Because somebody said, my mind wanders when I chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says, where is the question of mind? You chant with your tongue and you hear with your ears. So the mind is not in the picture. It's not an activity of the mind. It's an activity of the soul also, you could say. So the soul has to be involved. The spiritual mind has to be involved. So, but of course we know without the mind there, we cannot focus. But yesterday we were hearing how we can control the mind with one weapon of neglect. So that's what, when you chant, you have to neglect the mind. Because the mind comes up with so many ideas, as the planning and something. So Prabhupada said, you chant with your tongue and you hear with your ears. Where is the question of mind? So when the mind interferes in our hearing, then we can neglect the mind. If it's cooperating, it's nice. Otherwise, we neglect the mind. So.
Yeah, I was thinking that not just even in during chanting, but as you said, that 22 hours of what you do impact the 2 hours of chanting, right? So what we are thinking in those 22 hours, what are our thoughts? So the mind should be chaste to Krishna. Otherwise, if it becomes like a prostitute, thinking of so many different things, then there are paramours, right? One verse says there are paramours that can kill the soul or something. They can
The
attack
husband.
all the paramours of lust, anger, greed. So we have to be conscious of where our mind is wandering, even in those 22 hours, and bring it back and chastise it and do mana shiksha. And that all the things that we hear in the lectures, right? We should remember and saying that, do you want to wander in those 8.4 million species? Why are you desiring such and such? And
Yeah, it's a whole package. Chanting is not done in silo. It's a whole package because offenses also we make outside the chanting. Like when we are chanting, we are not blaspheming anybody. We are not committing sinful activities at that time when we are doing japa. So, Bahujanma kare yadi shravan kirtan tabu tan apaye Krishna pade prem dhan. So, if one is infested with the 10 offenses, so one has to remember all these 10 offenses. And the mother of all offenses is inattentive chanting. So we do offenses because of our anarthas. But anarthas are going to go away only with attentive chanting. So, because 99% of our advancement comes from chanting the holy name. And of course, we have to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So, we make offenses because of anarthas in the heart. But how are the anarthas going to go away? Anarthas are going to go away only when we chant attentively. And we pray to Krishna to remove those anarthas. Like asking, like in the salt, asking the Lord to remove those anarthas. And we have to chant very attentively. Prayer has 4 components, right? You were saying. One is asking the Lord for some spiritual or making us purified. So, so that is the... it has to be an active, it's a relationship, as Mahatma Prabhu was saying. It's not a process, it's a relationship where you can actually interact with the holy name, who is Nam Prabhu. He is a person. The holy name is a person. He is Krishna himself. And Hare is Radharani. In one purport, Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when you chant the holy name, then you should remember that this holy name is non-different from Krishna, Radha and Krishna. And I am actually in the company of Radha and Krishna. So how much? Then he says he's a pure devotee if he chants in this consciousness. Although he may be neophyte, but he'll become a pure devotee. That all goes back to, one-on-one with Krishna, we are saying. So the holy name is Krishna and Radharani and Krishna. So when we always say this, when we invite somebody, then we better pay attention. Or when we have a very important meeting, then we better pay attention. So attentive chanting is what will take away our anarthas. 99% of our advancement comes from chanting the holy name, but chanting the holy name attentively. Of course, you may say, well, I am not able to chant attentively is also because of my anarthas. Yes, distractions, all the anarthas also prevent us from chanting attentively. Because so many desires are there, so many thoughts are coming, so many things that we think is very important than the chanting. So that's where prayer comes in. So there where we say, Krishna, I am not able to chant attentively, I am helpless. I'm helpless against this. So you please help, you please help. But that's where Prabhupada says, you chant in the mood of a baby crying for mother. So I'm helpless, Krishna, you please help. Even to chant the holy name, I need your help. To chant attentively, I need your help. Krishna, please help, please help. So, like that. So that's when we get the mercy and we'll be able to chant nicely. Okay, so, yeah.
Prabhuji,
I posted some verses. Oh, does anybody else? Yeah, Amit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Also, Prabhuji, I was just thinking on the process of bhakti, and So there are three steps, like we establish a sambandh and then we do the avideya and we reach the prayojan. So when we are, sometimes I feel that mind wandering is because the sambandh is not established very strongly, because we are not realizing that we are servant of Krishna, in the sense like that serving attitude is not coming in.
Correct.
It's causing the problem in the avideya. And when the avideya becomes strong, then sambandh becomes strong.
Correct.
And the starting stage is just very difficult, because right now the sambandh is not established and avideya is not that strong.
That's why we have to read Prabhupada's books every day, because he is putting us back into the Sambandha Gyan and hear Srila Prabhupada like that. Because we forget, right? I mean, we forget that we are this, not this body. I have nothing to do in this material world. I'm just passing through. This material world is a miserable place. All these things Prabhupada reminds us. And then we are servant of Krishna. Jivere Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. But right now we are so much into all the upadhis we have, all the designations, that we have forgotten that I am spirit soul and I have nothing to do with anybody in this material world. It is all going to change. But I am thinking this is Susarva Upadhi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So we have to get rid of, at least that's what the baggage, we leave our baggage. Kratu Maharaj said like that, right? He said, we should take sannyas when we chant the holy name. So ideally, you should take sannyas always, but at least for chanting the holy name, you should take sannyas.
For 2 hours, we should take complete sannyas.
Correct. Then 2 hours will become 3 hours, and 3 hours will become 4 hours, 5 hours, and one day will say, I will completely dedicate my life to the service of the Lord. I will not do anything else. I'll just serve Krishna. I'll surrender to Krishna. That's sannyas, really. Yeah, we can read some verses here.
Yeah. So Shukdev Goswami is saying, my dear king, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action. All the learned scholars have given their opinion. The mind is by nature very restless, and one should not make friends with it. If we place full confidence in the mind, it may cheat us at any moment. Even Lord Shiva became agitated upon seeing Mohini form of Lord Krishna, and Shaubhari Muni also fell down from the mature stage of yogic perfection. An unchaste woman is very easily carried away by paramours, and it sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her paramours. If the yogi gives his mind a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and they will doubtlessly kill the yogi. Mind is a root cause of lust, anger, greed, pride, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Combine these constitute bondage to fruitive activity. What learned man would put faith in the mind?
Very nice verses. Thank you for sharing.
We are living with our greatest enemy. So, we need to build our intelligence. That's where scriptures come. Every day, reading scripture, so we have to build our spiritual intelligence, because material intelligence also, there is lust is there, right? Senses, mind, intelligence, lust, sitting place of lust. So spiritual intelligence we need to build to conquer our.
Indriyani manobuddhirasya adhisthana muchyate eter vimohati yesha.
Yes, we memorize that verse.
Okay, and it bewilders. Yeah. Okay, so we'll read another verse. What is the time? 7. Prahlad Maharaj said, and it may sound all repetitive, sometimes we think, yeah, it's all repetitive, I've heard. But to go from the head to the heart, it takes a lot of time. Head, everything is there, but to go into the heart, you have to contemplate on it, you have to really, really absorb it deeply. So when we forget also, that's why we have to repeat. Jayadvaita Maharaj was asked, why is Krishna repeating Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto? He said, because you are forgetting so many times. In the second chapter, you would think that why Krishna is repeating about the soul. There are so many verses describing in different ways. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam da ajo nitya sashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamaneshwari. Soul is never destroyed. Then he specifically says, of course, because Arjuna has many weapons and like that. But it's kind of like, he's saying again and again about the eternality of the soul and the temporariness of this body. He's going on. So many verses are there. Because he wants us to drill it into us. I mean, he wants us to understand. Prabhupada said, repetition of subject matter. This is necessary to understand the matter thoroughly. So, we may sometimes feel, yeah, I heard this, it's the same thing, why again and again? But we have to hear again and again because we forget and it has not gone sufficiently into our heart. Like for me, I'm not this body. That itself is a big realization. But if are we in that realization all the time? I'm not this body, I'm spirit, soul. So we have to hear. Because that is the fundamental understanding on which spiritual life is based. I'm not this body, I'm spirit, soul. And then more is, of course, I'm servant of God, I'm servant of Krishna. So like that. So when you think, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu, when we don't know the swa, the self, then we don't know the interest. What is my real interest? What is the interest of the soul? So that's why I'm thinking, Durashaya ye bahirarthamanina. I'm thinking other things are more, this is my real interest. Doing this and that and so many other things. I'm not interested in my soul. Of course, I am the soul. Not interested in the real I, the interest of the real I, but I'm interested in the interest of so many other things. Okay. Which Sanat Kumar says is the greatest obstacle to spiritual life. So we have to be rooted in this understanding of who we are. Sambandha is established, then you can act. Abhideya. In that, knowing the Sambandha. Abhideya is strong when you know who you are and what is your relationship with God, like that, and this material world, and what is exactly the situation. And you see the bigger picture. Otherwise, you get lost. You just not see, like they say, not to see the forest for the trees. When you are in the jungle, you don't see how the big forest is. But when you are in the plain, you can see, okay, the whole forest. But when you are inside on the earth, in the middle of the forest, you only see trees around you. But if your consciousness rises above that, then you can see, yes, I'm spirit soul. I'm just transmigrating from one body to the next. And death is coming, and I will leave this body and go to another body. So then you can see, I've gone through so many lives. Of course, we don't remember, but that understanding becomes more like, so what am I doing in this life for a few years? So then you can analyze. Okay, so Prahlad Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, because you are, somebody wants to say something. Prahlad Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, because you are so merciful to the fallen souls, I ask you for only one benediction. I know that my father at the time of his death had already been purified by your glance upon him, but because of his ignorance of your beautiful power and supremacy, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you are the killer of his brother. So envy, he had envy of Supreme Lord. And that's why he was angry. He was angry at his own well-wisher. So this is our situation. We have become angry because of envy. We have our own desires, and when our desires are not gratified, then we become angry. Krishna, why you are not fulfilling all this? But these desires are not really like the child may become angry at the mother. I want the knife. Why you're not giving me the knife? I have the desire to play with knife. And the mother is not giving the knife. The child may think, oh, mother is not, is not fulfilling my desires. And child may become angry at the mother. So we have our own desires to enjoy separately from Krishna. And when those desires are not fulfilled, we become angry at Krishna. That, oh, Krishna is not fulfilling these desires. But it is not good for you. That's why Krishna is not giving you. So, just like the Prabhu was also saying that, who was the Prabhu who came before this? Hari Parshad Prabhu was saying. Not Hari Parshad Prabhu. Arjun Sakha Prabhu was saying. So, so we are like that child, we are demanding. And Krishna is like the mother who knows what is good and what is not good. But if we really demand, then Krishna will give. Like Prabhupada's son wanted to put his hand in that fan, rotating fan. He was stubborn. He said, no. Prabhupada said, no, don't put. It will get hurt. He said, no, I want to put. Okay, then get hurt. Of course, in a way that it was not so bad. So, we insisted to Krishna, I want to go to the material world. Krishna said, no, don't go. It will not be good for you. No, I want to go. I want to enjoy. Okay, go. And then find out for yourself how it is. So, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you are the killer of his brother. Thus he directly blasphemed your lordship, the spiritual master of all living beings. Like yesterday you were giving the analogy, we are a fish out of water. Here in this material world, we are like a fish out of water. Because we are in a foreign environment, which is very harsh. As Bhakti Tirth Maharaj says, the vacation in the material world. You have come to vacation in the material world, but this material world is such a harsh place. Of course, Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate for the devotee. So the spiritual master of all living beings and committed heavily sinful activities directed against me, your devotee. I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities. Prahlad Maharaj knows that the Lord will not pardon any activities done against the devotees. So he's thinking himself as a devotee. You may say, well, how is that? The devotee never thinks himself as a devotee. How is Prahlad Maharaj saying like that? So, but he knew in his heart that, Hiranyakashipu did many offenses. So, I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities. Although Hiranyakashipu was purified as soon as he came in contact with the Lord's lap, the Lord saw him. Prahlad Maharaj still wanted to hear from the Lord's own mouth that his father had been purified by the Lord's causeless mercy. Prahlad Maharaj offered this prayer to the Lord for the sake of his father. He knew that he was delivered, but just to reassure, he wanted to hear directly from the horse's mouth, as we say. As a Vaishnava son, despite all the inconveniences imposed upon him by his father, he could not forget his father's affection. So, he's a Saragrahi Vaishnava. Saragrahi means, amongst all the bad qualities, he sees one good quality. Oh, he was so affectionate to me. And that was what happened when first time Prahlad was brought. Hiranyakashipu smelt his head. He had tears in his eyes seeing his son. He showed so much affection to Prahlad Maharaj. So he remembered, oh, he's done. He was affectionate to me. So Prahlad Maharaj offered this prayer to the Lord for the sake of his father. So that is also, the devotee also we say is like a honeybee. There may be so many bad qualities in a person, but at least he's chanting Hare Krishna. He's coming to the temple. How many people are chanting Hare Krishna? So in that way, of course, we should see some good quality. That's what he's saying. You see Vaishnava as a Vaishnava. Means Yeah, everybody has bad qualities. Until you become completely purified, you are pure devotee. So, but appreciate something that they are doing. And in this way, we can also remain, we will not be proud. Prabhupada says every Vaishnava should appreciate the service of other Vaishnavas and not be proud of his own service. This is the Vaikuntha way of thinking. He says like that. The purport thing in Narsinghdev's thing. It's the seventh canto only. So, yeah. Yeah, to not, yeah, go ahead.
Go complete your sentence.
Yeah, I was just saying, thinking that to not make any offenses, you should not be proud. Even if you have good sadhana, you should not become proud that my sadhana is better than others and I am very great. Because then when you feel you are better than others, then you will make offenses to devotees. So you have to remain humble and should not be proud that I am better because I have, I am doing this and this, I am doing so many services. This devotee is not doing that many services that I am doing. And then you will make offenses. So, of course, if you are guru, then you can find words. But otherwise, like, it can, be, like he was saying, how good is your japa and all this thing. But you have to have a relationship, otherwise the person may feel like offended by your asking him or her many things. You have to have a relationship where otherwise the person may think, oh, who is it to ask me? Like that. So, no, generally devotees are humble, so you can ask. But okay, so you wanted to say something, sorry.
Yeah, this also shows the quality of forgiveness. A devotee, like Jesus Christ, right? When they were putting him on the cross, he was saying that, Lord, please forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And even Haridas Thakur, when he was being beaten by the Muslim soldiers, he was praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to not, to forgive them. So it's like we hate the sin, not the sinner, right? We see that person as a spirit soul, and we see that everything is coming to us by our own karma. This person is an instrument of my own karma. And Prabhupada said that the devotees are more forgiving than the Lord, that Krishna never tolerates any offenses towards the devotees, but the devotee Vaishnava is ready to forgive for such offenses.
Correct. Nice point. If we want to be forgiven, then we should also forgive. Prabhupada says, as Krishna is tolerating, we should also tolerate others. Something like that he said. As I am tolerating you, you should also tolerate others. So, yeah, we are, Krishna is ready to forgive us after so many millions of lives of denial, and still he is not given up on us. So, forgiving is because it takes away the grudge from your heart against somebody that you might be. And that grudge against somebody, Mahatma Prabhu has a whole seminar on the art of forgiveness. He says, he was here in Columbus in 2009. When I had just moved in, he gave the seminar on art of forgiveness and purity. So we have to forgive, because it's only like, carrying all these grudges in the heart is not very good against other people, and that kind of resentment. Correct?
Yeah, it disturbs our japa, like she was saying about that one person she was finding faults with, and she was not getting taste in chanting. So then she started glorifying the devotee, and then her chanting improved. So if something disturbs our mind, and also this having grudge against others is like drinking poison, right? Thinking the other person will die. So
yes, Mataji, but we have to protect ourselves also.
yes.
You can show the fangs, not the Krishna's instruction, but you have to protect yourself. Also, you have to accept yourself, whatever you are, because it's not necessary. You might be at a very higher position in bhakti, we just started. Say, for example, we are beginners, for example. So it takes time and patience to slowly, gradually move up in the bhakti. During that time, we should also be protectful also. Um, Forgiving is important. Of course, we should see Paramatma in other person's heart. We should try to see Paramatma in other person's heart. Then we should see other people as swift deliverer of our own karmas. But at the same time, protecting ourselves is also important.
Correct. That's the fence where the Bhakti Lata creeper is very weak. So we have to build a fence so that the Bhakti Lata, our Bhakti is not disturbed by, you know, so many other extraneous influences. So,
And the more we are humble, less false ego we have, we will not be disturbed by if somebody said something to us or disrespected us.
good point, yeah. Amrish Maharaj did not feel offended, but that's very high. Like, Jesus Christ, Haridas Thakur, yeah, the more humble we are, we will not be offended by anybody. Why? Because I'm fallen person, I deserved it. So, most fallen soul.
Yeah, but as Prabhuji said, that we should not let anybody impact our sadhana in the sense that we should take measures to, like, we should not do tit for tat, like how others are behaving. We rebound back and do the same thing to them, but take appropriate actions. Maybe have the leader, talk with the person if
That
they are doing something wrong to us, or if somebody attacks you, then let the police handle it rather than attacking the person back, because then you're getting entangled in the karma again.
Yeah, devotees, the Prabhupada wanted devotee Kshatriyas and devotee Brahmanas, like in the Varnashram. So there are Kshatriyas who are especially meant to protect. And yeah, when we went to Poland a few years back. So Indradumna Maharaj had, of course, the police, but there were devotees also who were acting as bodyguards, so that nobody external comes and disturbs the festival. So, because there is some opposition there in that some places. So, yeah, I mean, Arjuna is there. There has to be like a protection thing. Otherwise, devotees will be victimized. But yeah, it's
Even if
911 is the protection. Yeah,
even choosing the right company, Prabhuji, that gives you the correct protection.
correct.
If you're feeling like, say, for example, you're doing something a lot many times, and all the times you're getting in a situation which is disturbing your bhakti, then we can choose the company very intelligently, choose the company that we have, and choose the company. And devotee should, a devotee or a Vaishnav symptom is in the presence of a Vaishnav or a devotee, nobody will get disturbed. So that's the first symptom. So devotee acts in such a way that it does not causes disturbance to anybody, and with his actions, the bhakti increases in his surroundings. We can
Correct.
always choose right Vaishnavas. Like,
Sometimes sadhu speaks strongly, but that should not cause agitation.
yeah, sadhus can speak so strongly that it can burn out all our karmas. But
Correct.
yes, but those should be sadhus.
Yeah,
Like
and
some.
we should feel encouraged and inspired to do more bhakti in the association of those devotees. If we feel discouraged, then that's the association we need to avoid.
Yeah, it should. I like both the aspects which give rise to detachment from those sadhus that speak about, like Vidura was speaking to Dhritarashtra, and then there is like how we can increase our bhakti. Both go simultaneously. Both enhance each other. So those who speak about this material nature, renunciation from desires of sense gratification, and engaging in Krishna's service. Although we say Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha, Janat yati asu vairagyam jnanam cha yad hetukam. But you can't engage in bhakti unless you have some renunciation from. Because if the mind is like, or there is no time, then you can't come to the temple, you can't engage, you can't sit down and chant Hare Krishna. There has to be some. So that talk, that kind of talk also inspires one to, I mean, like Prabhupada is so many times in the purport is saying, oh, this human form of life is so rare, it's a great opportunity for you to go back home, back. So focusing on that important, then we will become more serious. So those talks that make you more serious about detachment and more like engaged in Krishna's service, they are really very beneficial.
I think Prabhuji, the Jada Bharat behavior is very similar, right? To consciously keeping the detachment to the worldly affairs.
Right. Yes. He didn't want to. He was like acting as a mad person because he didn't want to get entangled in this material world.
And Prabhuji, can I add a point, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm like listening to Garuda Puran, like which is a conversation between Lord Vishnu and Garuda, and like or sometimes it's Krishna and Garuda. So they say like they're saying like the human form of birth is so rare that the time that we spend in the human body is like very minute compared to the time that we live as ghosts or goblins, and then again when we go to Naraka, the amount of punishments, and again when we come back in the some lower form of species, again gradually progressing to the human birth. So from one human birth to another human birth, it may take some kalpas. Yeah, just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, we should think like that. That is very rare. Everywhere it's labdva sudurlabam midam bahu sambhavante. Everywhere it says rare, rare, rare. So, and time is limited, right? What are the three characteristics of human life? It is
rare, it's temporary, and it's very valuable.
like ask that person who is sick. For that person, every day is like a struggle. Today how will be my day? And in the hospital or somebody's, because every day is like, and here when we have good time and good health, relatively speaking, then we should focus on Krishna very much, because that day will come in our life also when it will not be so nice. So yeah.
Krishna Prabhuji, can I add one thing like what Prabhuji said? In Bhagavad Gita 240, can you read last paragraph of purport? Prabhupada said that when if you practice Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada assures we will get human body of life.
Correct.
Just I want to add that. Thank you.
Yeah, that verse 240. That even a little, 1 minute, let me open it. 2 point. He is saved from the greatest danger, which is going into animal species of life. So even if, yeah. So that's the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna, doing devotional service. Last paragraph, let's see. Material activities and their results end with the body, but the work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family. That will give one further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. And then we also have, don't wait for another life. Try to finish your business in this life. Of course, whether we have finished or not, Krishna will decide. But at least from our part, we should do it whatever it takes. We say, leave no stone unturned. So, like, we should have determination like Rukmini. We should have determination like Haridas Thakur. Khanda khanda hoy deha yadi jai pran. And Rukmini also said, I want you, Krishna, nobody else. And then the sparrow's determination. Right? He said, the sparrow said, I will empty the ocean no matter what. So our determination is, yes, I will surrender to Krishna. I'm done with this. But then, of course, we may fall short of surrendering to Krishna. With Krishna will decide ultimately how we have done at the end of life. But Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj used to say, don't wait for another life. Of course, we go to another place where Krishna is performing his pastimes. But when Krishna is performing his pastimes in this material world, we are as good as with the... Yeah. But yes, this is very good. This is a very hope-giving verse. That even little bit you do, it will give you a human birth in the next life. But again, you can become deviated. Who knows? We have got this human life because we become deviated in our last life. So now we again came into devotional service. Now we should not be deviated. So that's how we should think, that I have some remaining years in my life. I should not deviate and I should just finish the business. Yeah, and we can read what the thing is there here.
Prabhupada's quote, room conversation, is saying, I have gone through a variety of stages of life. So I've got full experience of this material world. I don't want it. That determination is there. Society, family, love, friendship, all these are nonsense. Everything out. I have tasted. I am no more interested with this material world. So, getting to this stage of frustration, not thinking that, some situation is better than what I have. No, I have gone through all the stages in many, many lifetimes. I've experienced everything. Still, I'm not satisfied, as Bhakti Charu Maharaj, to him he says. And you can see that you have tried for many, many lifetimes, still you're not satisfied. So that determination should be there, that I don't want it. I don't want it. I mean, I don't have any other material desires. I'm done with this material world.
Yeah,
and then,
we don't want birth, death, old age, disease, right? Who wants that? Repeatedly, this is material life. Birth, death, old age, disease, and death is coming up. Who wants this again and again? Nobody wants it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then you were talking about Rukmini's determination. I pasted that verse. O lotus-eyed one, great souls like Lord Shiva, hanker to bathe in the dust of your lotus feet and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from the severe penances I will perform. Then after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. So, yeah, so it's like Ashli Shiva Padratam Panushtavam. Krishna, even if you don't accept me, I will keep you as my supreme Lord, lifetime after lifetime. Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatat Bhakti Rahitat Keetvai.
Yes, so, yeah, this is a very hope. Thank you for pointing out this verse. Yeah. Actually, when I started chanting, then they were telling me, yeah, you chant one round, there is no loss. So, the Shiksha program back in Bangalore. So, yeah, 4 rounds like that. There is no loss. Even if you do little bit, there is, will protect you from danger. So, like that, it's a very hope-giving verse. Krishna is so hope-giving that Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yogo Prashta Vijayate. He says, yes, even if you deviated from the path, but you were on the path of bhakti and you deviated, then you will get birth. But Prabhupada said also like that there is always chance of the accidents on even the most royal roads. So the royal roads are very wide and nice, but there can be an accident even in that. So like that, yeah, we can again deviate. It's not like if you get birth in a family of devotees, but you can again deviate and again then another life can go on. So, correct.
Prabhuji, I feel like we have done so many wrong things in multiple lives. Krishna's love is unconditional. That's what I was reading. Like, for even to the worm in the stool, he gives a chance because he's staying with them in his heart. So we should be very optimistic, extremely optimistic.
We should be hopeful.
Yeah.
Asha Bandha. Yeah.
And material world is designed in such a way it frustrates us for a reason, so that we get out of it. It is designed us for us to automatically get out and go back to the spiritual world.
Correct. It's meant to frustrate the jiva. Yes. And if you get frustrated, then Krishna is achieved. Krishna got success in convincing you to come back if you become frustrated with this material world. So,
Yes. We should be happy with frustration, not frustrated with frustration.
yeah, we should be happy with frustration. That's good. Yes, this is how it is, material world. So,
Yeah, we should have proper expectation. It's all birth, death, old age, and disease, dukhalayam. So, if something comes to our life, we had expected it.
yeah, otherwise we'll become very we have a lot of hopes of enjoyment in this material world, and whether it don't go the way we want, then sometimes it becomes so bad that you want to end your life. Like people end their life because they did not get the marks they deserved in the exam, or somebody, relationship failed, and then, they hang themselves. So all these things. So that's nothing is worth giving life for, but only Krishna. So in this world, there is nothing worth giving life for other than in the service of the Lord. Okay, so we will stop here. 8:30. We can read one more verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. We have to read Krishna book, but sorry. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Tri saptabhi pita putaha pitribhi sahate nagaha yat sadho syakule jato bhavan vaikula pavana. In the Muchukunda pastime, we read that to counteract all the sinful activities we have done, at least the last stage of life, Prabhupada said, we should just engage in devotional service fully. In the Muchukunda, there was a statement like that. So, of course, last stage, we don't know when it's last stage. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Prahlad, O most pure, O great saintly person, your father has been purified along with 21 forefathers in your family. Because you were born in this family, the entire dynasty has been purified. So our parents, if you become pure devotee, your parents also get benefited." So Bhakti Charu Maharaj told his father that when he was a little upset when he joined the temple, he said, "I will take care of you after birth, after death. Your other sons, my brothers, they will take care of you while you are alive. But after death, if I become a devotee, I will take care of you." So that's the thing. So everybody, the soul gets benefited. That's the real benefit. The word Tri Saptibhi means 7 multiplied by 3. In one's family, one can count back 4 or 5 generations to one's great grandfather or even one's great grandfather's father. But since the Lord mentions 21 forefathers, this indicates the benediction expands to other families also. Before the present family in which one has taken birth, one must have been born in other families. So, I died in my last life, there were some parents. Before that, I was in some other family, there I had some parents. So, they also get benefited. They may have also died, but wherever that soul is, they also get benefited. Like Dhruva Maharaj, when he was going back to Godhead, he asked, "What about my mother who showed me the path?" They showed him a plane. "Oh, that's your mother also going another plane." So Prabhupada in his humility writes, if one of my devotee becomes strong, one of my disciple becomes strong in Krishna consciousness, then I also have hope. Because if the disciple goes back home, then the guru will also go back home. So like that, because the guru is instructed the disciple like that. So, thus when a Vaishnava takes birth in a family by the grace of the Lord, that purifies not only that family, but also the families of his previous births. Because they also contributed to the spiritual advancement. So, like that. But we have heard that they get Sukruti and they will have to do their sadhana also, but they get a good start and good chance by Krishna's grace. Okay. So we will stop here. Any other comments?
Yeah, so we should think that if we become a pure devotee, just becoming a pure devotee, how much we can benefit others, our families, and anyone we meet, because purity is the force. And they were saying yesterday, we take up some preaching engagement. Once we have some responsibility for others, then we also think that now I should become pure because I'm speaking all this philosophy to others. I should also follow. And she was saying, child makes a mother. So it's like the responsibility we take. Okay, I'm a preacher, I'm a book distributor. I should also read like that. So responsibility of the family, like I should become a pure devotee in my family and deliver others.
Yeah, like you say, on the job training, right? Because on the job training means they give you some responsibility of doing some work. Then you have to do the work. So you get trained while you are doing the work because you have to accomplish, you have a responsibility of finishing the task. So like that, yeah, many people learn on the job.
Yeah, and then that verse is also right. Don't become a father, don't become a mother, don't become a guru unless you can deliver your dependents. The cycle of birth and death.
So real mother, real father is that who will guide their children out of the cycle of birth and death. That's why I was thinking yesterday when Prabhu was saying about Guru, that Guru doesn't ask. But that's like a drawback, I feel. Because if Guru doesn't ask, it's Guru has to see that the disciple is doing nicely. So otherwise don't become a Guru. Because after initiation, the Guru has to monitor the disciple and see whether the disciple is. So it's a drawback on the part of the mother, father, the Guru, if they don't ask. So we can have Shiksha Guru or like that or something like that. Because if Guru has many disciples, then he may not be able to ask everybody how they are doing, and he's involved in so many projects and things like that. So but that's very important. Somebody to monitor us in our spiritual life. We need. That's also accountability, right? We need somebody to monitor us. So otherwise, without accountability, without any monitoring, then we will not, be very punctual, very regular, consistent, and we may even give up. And then there is nobody to ask us, did you chant your rounds today? You are not coming to temple. Why you are not coming? So there should be somebody. Okay.
And I wanted to add something to Sugandha Mataji's point. It's when when we preach, we need to know the philosophy, and Srila Prabhupada's given these books. So how can we give someone books that we ourselves have not read? How can we say what's in the book? And if they ask any questions, we should be able to answer. So we should make it a daily practice to read Srila Prabhupada's books when we want to preach.
Yeah. Another way to look at it is that you are the messenger, you are the postman. But of course, if somebody asks you, and generally people ask, and you have to explain to them. So now I have not read all the small books and everything, and like all the. But if you know the basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and then also you can say that this is what is, because every book of Prabhupada ultimately talks about surrendering to Krishna and chanting the holy name and how we are not this body and we are. But we should read all the books so we can specifically tell, okay, what is in this book. Yeah.
I think every book is derived from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. These are the two main books.
Correct.
All the small books, etc.
Yes, true, Mataji. Prabhuji, one thing, not for this class, but to question. I wanted to attend some seminar on how to read scriptures and try to realize knowledge. What are the steps? some maybe you or I
There,
mean anybody who wants to add points to it. How exact? What is the right way to read shastras? How to, you know, dwell upon them and how to experience what is written. So if you can give some, you know, insights into it in one of the classes.
how to read Shastra? Just read. I don't know what.
Yes.
Read without any preconceived notion that you may like it, you may not like it, what Prabhupada is saying. Don't try to adjust Prabhupada's statements to suit your own. Yeah, that's one very important thing. Just read as if it is coming from the absolute real. Just read every sentence of Prabhupada and he said, Krishna dictates to me what I should write. Now, many things in different purports, Prabhupada may have said different things. So then, you have to take it like in a whole context also, and try to read more and try to get a better, fuller understanding of Prabhupada's words. And then we also hear from his disciples who actually were with Prabhupada and how he, behaved and everything like that. So, but we have to read with an open mind. Yeah, go ahead.
How to realize the knowledge which is written, Prabhuji?
You have to practice. You have to take it to heart, basically, whatever that's given. You have to contemplate mananam like that, nididhyasana, and then actually apply it in practice. So, yeah, so
No, I like Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Maharaj. I think he was saying that he may have some seminars on the reading of the scriptures, because he was saying that he covered the scriptures, seeing it at a high level. So we go starting at the high level, then we drill deep. So high level means, you cover the scriptures, do the translations. Just do the translations throughout Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, so you understand the storyline, broader pastime. And then you go verse by verse. So then we also have way, like we are doing in this Skype call, we reading together as a group, because everybody has a different perspective that they can point to. So that is reading as a group, and we should make it consistent like we do. But also we should have a personal time for reading, like 15-30 minutes of personal time, so we can stop at certain points in the purports and then meditate on it and how we can apply things to our life. So reading as a group and personal reading, and then high level, and then drilling down deep. And then there are Bhakti Vaibhav courses where instructors are going verse by verse. They are drilling down deep into every verse. So that way also.
thank you. Also, another thing, I just will quickly end. Reading should not be done so that you can, accumulate knowledge, or reading should not be done to become a pandit or know so much. Reading should be done as if this is a personal class to me. Prabhupada is speaking to me personally through the purport, and for my own purification. I am reading for my own purification. Not sometimes we read because I have to give a class. That's good. But actually, when we read, it applies to me more than it applies to anybody else. So we should read with that consciousness for my own purification, not because I want to get more knowledge or know more this thing. That's not. So then you can, every sentence you read, you can think about, right? As you were saying, you can contemplate on how does it apply to me and how I can.
Not in the mode of rajas, like that. If somebody is teaching, then we try to find out another verse which is higher than him. Then somebody finds another verse higher, and there's a competition. We should avoid that, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, correct.
That is Panditya.
And it is not about finishing book. It is about how much you have like Krishna Jivani Mataji was saying. Yes, I know all the 7, but how can we leave any one verse 5 minutes of the day? She was saying like that. So it's not about we have to live the verses. And that's the mood in which we should read, that I want to live this lifestyle that is mentioned here. Not that I can, I have so much knowledge and like that. So that, of course, I'm telling this to myself also as I'm. So we have to
So
think
we have so many points, Prabhuji. We should take a class on it, like
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
this is
there
nice. Everybody's saying how to read. This is good. We can discuss more.
15-20 points came up. I mean, we can have a class on it one of the days.
Because even one verse can give you perfection if you really like take it deep inside your heart and just. Prabhupada said, like, even if they read one page of my book, that will give them perfection. So,
One thing I wanted to add is, Prabhuji was saying finding a verse higher than that. It's not really no verse is higher or lower, but we try to connect verses. Srila Prabhupada does that in his purports also. He always cross references. So, and that's the way we can kind of understand, right? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, he will quote a verse from several verses from, or even the same verse 2 times in the purport. From Bhagavad Gita, for example, he will quote from the Upanishads, and often he quotes certain verses, right? And those verses, that means that those verses there's a word in Hindi, right? Atmasat. That means we should actually make it part of ourselves. So it's not just reading, but we have to imbibe the meaning behind those verses and really make it part, like it's like Guru Mukha Padmavati Chittete Kariya Aikya, right? Like something like that, where it becomes part of you. So whatever you're doing, meditating on those verses and constantly see, first of all, we have to try to understand how it can be applied to our lives and then really application.
Yes, Mataji, you are absolutely right. So I was expanding on what Prabhuji was saying, Panditya. Like what Pandits used to do, if somebody quotes a truth, they will try to quote a higher truth. But what you are saying is appending to that verse, which is very, very important. I mean, what you are saying is very, very much required. Like when we quote some verse or Prabhuji quotes verse, Sugandha Mataji adds to it. So that increases our knowledge. So what you're saying is absolutely needed. But what I'm referring is to the Panditya, like just to prove ourselves that we know more. That should not be there.
Yeah, the olden days, you're referring to Shastrarth, right? And in olden days, Shastrarth was actually done to establish the truth. It wasn't a show off. It evolved into that. It became like that. Even like people who came to argue with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with Rupa Goswami, all those Digvijay Pandit and all those people. But the thing is that actual Shastrarth is actually meant to, what is it called? Shastra Artha. Just think about the meaning of the word itself, right? Shastron ka arth samajna. That's the meaning of Shastrat, but it evolved into a debate. So, but really, we should question. It's not like we should just accept it. We should question. We should bring something else and say, but it says here like this. So why? That's when we really get the import of the meaning of the import of the verses, the scriptures. But yeah, we a lot of times the ego comes in and so many things happen. What I'm saying is right, that kind of a thing. So that obscures the whole purpose.
We can hear the lectures that Sugandha put here from Amrendra Prabhu and other devotees. So thank you. Yes. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.